While in a shocking statement, what has come so far after the 17th BRICS Summit has in fact made a joint declaration statement, US President Donald Trump has issued a fresh statement. He has threatened all the nations who have in fact participated, the BRIC nations, with additional 10% tariff for aligning with what he termed as an anti-American policies. In the statement, he warned all the countries of extra tariffs if they align with the BRICS. This comes as BRICS Summit is currently underway in Brazil. Trump stated, and I quote, that any country aligning themselves with the anti-American policies of BRICS will be charged with additional 10% tariffs. He believes this is in fact in the view of anti-American policies. He followed India's signing of BRICS declaration condemning US tariff measures as well. As he also mentioned that there will be no exceptions to this policy. He announced the delivery of the tariff letters to various countries and previously threatened 100% tariffs if BRICS moved to replace the US dollar. Arzu Seth is joining me with more updates. Arzu, that's in fact the US President Donald Trump's latest threatening statement, lashing out at the BRICS nation, warning of additional 10% of the tariffs on any country aligning with the groups which he termed as the anti-American policies. How does this statement to be looked in context, Arzu, as he also made it clear that there would be no exceptions, definitely hitting more strictly against India as well?
Well, definitely, Simran, and this can be clearly seen as the open threat that the Trump has given to the countries participating in BRICS or the part of the BRICS. Also, U.S. President Donald Trump said that he would impose an additional 10% tariff on any country that aligns itself with what he described as the anti-American policies of BRICS. On our platform Social Truth, he said that any country aligning themselves with the anti-American policies of BRICS will be charged an additional 10% tariff, and there will be no exception to this policy. So he also made it clear that no one will be left from this additional 10% tariff. And thank you for your attention. This is what the Trump said in a post he done at the Truth Social. So Trump did not clarify or expand on the anti-American policies reference in his post, but yes, the original BRICS group gathered leaders from Brazil, Russia, India, and China at its first summit in 2009, and the bloc later added South Africa, and last year included Egypt, Ethiopia, Indonesia, Iran, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates, and also Indonesia as members. So yes, this was a threat for all those countries, the participating countries of the BRICS. And in another post also, Trump threatened and said that I'm pleased to announce that the United Nations tariff letter and deal with the various countries from around the world will be delivered, stating 12 p.m. Eastern on Monday, July 7th, means today. And clearly, he also announced the letter that will be, that various countries are going to get regarding the tariff. So once again, Trump is threatening the countries for the additional tariff. So this remains to be seen how the BRICS countries are going to react on the threat that the Trump has given. Yes, Simran.
For sharing more details, Dr. Sharat Kohli, senior economist, joins me live on the telecast. Good morning, sir. As you see, there is a big statement yet again by United States President Donald Trump. While Trump has not made it clear what he means by the anti-America policies or anti-America, in fact, moves, but also threatened and lashed out with 10% additional tariff of any nations that signs. So this is in fact the kind of shocking response that has been meted out by the US President Donald Trump, while the leaders of the BRICS bloc, including India on Sunday, issued a sharp warning against US President Donald Trump's sweeping import tariffs, calling them indiscriminate and a threat to global economic stability. How does one look at what happens to be in the global supply chain, the trade tariffs war, and in view of what has the statement now pertaining to as far as the war over trade and tariff is ongoing and still at it by United States President Donald Trump?
Good morning, Simran, and good morning to the viewers of NewsX. I just personally fail to understand the kind of diplomacy that President Trump follows, because threat is no way to pursue diplomacy. And, he feels that tariff is a weapon to everything. I really don't think, after some time, these threats of tariff will become so common and so often that I think everybody is going to become immune to them. He's threatening 10%. He's treating this as a weapon. Every time he has to say something threatening to somebody, he would use the word tariff and use tariff as a weapon. Well, he's forgotten that, BRICS now is not just Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. BRICS now also has 10 member states in all. It's got Egypt, it's got Ethiopia, it's got Indonesia, it's got Iran, it's got UAE, etc. So I think President Trump's policy, basically the threats coming out of two things, I feel, because BRICS has criticized, double standards of the Western nations, of the North, shall I say, on global South. That's one. BRICS has also criticized U.S. and Israel's attack on Iran. That also must be bugging him. And third thing, of course, is that the BRICS contains Russia and China, two of the biggest adversaries of the U.S. I think, and we've been talking about BRICS currency, and he realizes the fact that U.S. dollar is losing its value. Look at what is happening to U.S. dollar vis-a-vis the euro, vis-a-vis Swiss franc, vis-a-vis yen, vis-a-vis the British pound. I mean, it has fallen most in the last 50 years. The fall has been more than 10% in these currencies, 9%, 11%, not an average 10% fall. So he's probably realizing that U.S. dollar may lose its value further because of his own policies. The irony of the situation is it's because of his own policies that U.S. dollar is losing value. So he feels there might be a chance of an alternate currency floated by BRICS coming in. So he's trying to give a threat in advance that if you talk of BRICS currency, then I'm going to levy these tariffs. But I personally feel, Simran, that, these threats of tariffs are getting too common. They're getting too often also. So there'll be a time very soon when everybody is going to be immune to this, because by imposing tariffs, United States is forgetting that it is fueling inflation within its own country. Fine, you go ahead and levy tariffs on everything, and you'll see what happens to your own economy. I think he should understand economics. Not everything in the world can be sorted out by tariffs, is what President Trump has to understand sooner than later, Simran.
All right.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.